Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and it is a beautiful day here in New York, and I think a great opportunity to test the cameras on the new Galaxy Note 10 Plus and also the iPhone XS Max. Starting with some selfie video here, and actually one advantage of the Note 10 straight away is that you can shoot selfie video in 4K, which this is being shot at, versus full HD on the iPhone XS Max. Now, I'm not sure if you want to see my sweaty forehead in that much crisp 4K detail, but let me know which one you think is better quality. But as well as a higher resolution, the Note 10 also has another little trick up its sleeve. So this is actually a live focus selfie video. It's not just the rear camera that can do it. So this is live focus. Let me compare it. So this is with live focus, without live focus, and you can see now everything is a lot sharper in the back. You've lost all that sort of nice blurry bokeh effect. So this is a quick test of the iPhone and Samsung rear cameras shooting video, but we've got live focus, the new live focus feature on the Note 10 Plus. Which do you think looks better? We should be seeing a bit of a more blurry background, that bokeh effect, which should make me pop out of the scene a bit more on the Samsung, but some people think it looks a bit fake versus a more natural iPhone footage, but which do you think looks better? So I'm sure you'll agree that live focus video from the Note 10's camera looks pretty bad actually. It did seem to work better in selfie mode, but fingers crossed an update can improve it. Oh, and just quickly, if you do enjoy this video, it would be amazing if you could hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on my next camera test video. And if you want to see more behind the scenes shots, then follow me on Instagram at the Tech Chap. Anyway, we'll come back to video in just a second, but let's move on to some side-by-side photos. So this is shot with the standard wide lens, then we've got the 2x telephoto lens on both, and then we also have an ultra-wide on the Note 10 Plus. I actually use the ultra-wide way more than the telephoto, so for me that's definitely an advantage. Now they both take fantastic looking photos, and in good light there's not really much in it, but even cropping in by 300%, it's hard to pick them apart. The Note 10 Plus slightly over-sharpens the image, the iPhone's a tiny bit softer, but which is better really comes down to personal taste. The most obvious difference here though is the colors. The Note 10 is a little more saturated and vibrant, plus you can still see that extra sharpness around the fine details, like the wood on the bar, the straws and the menus. They both handle the tricky lighting really well though. Once again, the Note 10 Plus is a touch more vibrant, but aside from that and the iPhone looking a little bit softer, overall it's really hard to tell these phones apart. For this one, I think the iPhone just comes out on top. It seems to handle the bright highlights of the Yoga Here Now sign at the top right a little bit better, and so it's easier to read. Now from the back of the Uber, the biggest difference I can see is the color. The dashboard has a cooler, bluer tone on the Note, and the trees outside are a much more vivid green versus the warmer, yellowy look to the iPhone. So I came across this mural being painted, and straight away the Note's image looks a lot brighter, but not necessarily better. If you look at the lady's back on the left and the borders of the mural, they're much more evenly exposed on the iPhone, suggesting it handles dynamic range a little bit better. There's also far more detail in the black t-shirt on the chap on the right. The Note seems to be crushing the blacks a bit. So there's definitely a theme of the Note 10 being a touch brighter, offering slightly more vibrant colors and a little bit of over-sharpening, versus the more even dynamic range, the warmer color tone, and slightly softer look of the iPhone. Let's move on to some portrait shots. Now this is a normal photo without portrait or live focus mode, and then again with it on. You can see both phones use the telephoto lens for portraits, and there's definitely a stronger bokeh effect on the iPhone. But it looks just a bit too warm in my opinion. Again, starting off with a normal photo, and you can see how the phones handle the lighting differently, and then the same shot again in portrait mode, and the biggest difference once again is that color temperature. The Note 10 is a lot cooler and actually more natural looking than the overly warm iPhone. Now I'm sure you'll recognize Mr. Who's the Boss here, who was kind enough to model for me, and in this normal photo, the iPhone definitely does a better job of evening out the exposure. In portrait mode, well, Aaron's gonna hate me for using this picture, but which do you think looks better? Now what about low light portraits? Well, Aaron very kindly took this pretty cool photo of me, which looks even better in portrait mode with the blurred background. For me, I definitely prefer the iPhone's photo here. It's sharper, my skin tone is more natural, and while it is noisier in the corners, yeah, it's definitely a win for the iPhone. While we're talking about low light shots, unlike the iPhone, the Note 10 actually has a dedicated night mode which takes a longer exposure, and you can really see the difference in the lighting. Now this is surprising because while I was praising the iPhone for its dynamic range in the daylight shots, Here in low light, looking at the bar sign and the lights, the Note 10 seems to be doing better, and this isn't even in night mode. Here's another example, and again I'm kind of surprised just how well the Note 10 evens out that super bright add sign compared to the iPhone. Its low light dynamic range is very impressive. This is a normal photo, and then the same again with the Note 10's night mode. While it can look a little over sharpened sometimes, it does look good. Okay, let's move on to a few selfies, as if you're not already sick of seeing my face. And in low light, neither really look fantastic, but I'm sure you'll agree the iPhone does look better here. I must admit I do like the wider field of view you get with the Note selfies, but overall I think the iPhone does a better job in terms of quality. Now in good light, there's a big difference in sharpness. Just like the photos from the rear camera, the iPhone looks a touch softer versus the over-sharpened Note photos. Switching to a portrait selfie, and it's pretty much the same picture but with a blurry background. They both do look pretty good, but I think I prefer the iPhone selfie here. In the back of the Uber again, with trickier lighting, the iPhone definitely comes out on top. Sometimes the iPhone can come across as a bit flat looking as it evens out the exposure and the highlights, but overall it does look nicer. Just one more selfie, I promise, and as I say, I really do like that wider field of view you can get on the Note selfie shots. If you're doing a group selfie, it'll help you get more of your friends in the frame. Switching to portrait mode again, and I have to say, once again, I think the iPhone does look a bit more realistic. How's it going, Saf?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. This is a little behind the scenes of how you do your stuff.
That's a very interesting rig that you have there.
It's my arms holding two phones.
Quite different to his rig and my rig.
So this is Mr. Who's the Boss's little triple camera setup. You've probably
Here
seen his videos.
We are comparing rigs. Who's got the biggest rig?
This is the A7 III.
Ooh, nice.
I am still Team Lumix actually, but that's in my studio. When I'm out and about, then it's the A7 III. You've got behind the scenes.
Oh, there's Inception. There's behind the scenes. Although you can.
How many camera comparisons are people going to watch?
Mine first.
Don't watch Tom's. Don't watch Aaron's. You're going to watch mine first.
Now as for video, both can shoot up to 4K 60, here I'm recording at 4K 30, and the Note 10 seems to offer better stabilization. My footsteps aren't making the video judder as much, but it doesn't handle the dynamic range quite as well. The brighter areas are more blown out versus the iPhone. Switching to 1080p or Full HD on both, but using the super steady mode on the Note 10, again you can see it's a lot smoother on the Note. But they both shoot fantastic looking video, and it really is hard to choose between them. However, while they can both record using the main and telephoto lenses, the main advantage for me of the Note 10 is the ability to shoot with the ultra-wide lens, which can look pretty cool, especially in good light. So then, after all that, which do you think came out on top, the Note 10 Plus or the iPhone XS Max? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chap.